Here's how to file a 1099 NEC on TurboTax. So if you've not started your TurboTax filing process, then you're just going to want to click on that first screen to continue filing or start to file your personal information. On the left-hand side, you'll see this is the process of going through creating your tax return and filing it. So we have the My Info section, and then we get into federal. So inside of federal and wages and income, if you've already started this process, you're probably going to see this little drop-down menu. I want to get to wages and income summary. Now, if you're going through it for the first time, then you should be able to click through, add a W-2, and then it may ask you if you've had any self-employment income or extra income, which is where you can file the 1099 NEC. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. You can go to this wages and income summary. And then here at the bottom, you're going to see there may be something that says add more income. And you click on that and it drops down all of these different options of different forms that you can file for income, including under self-employment would be the 1099 NEC. So we click on that and we go ahead and start that section if we haven't already. So inside of here, you're basically going to answer the question. So yes, I've had self-employment income, and then you describe kind of the different businesses or different tracks of income that has come in. So if it's all under one umbrella, then it's all under one umbrella. If it's not, then you'll kind of like separate those out. Like maybe I have a video production business with its own forms. Maybe I have a graphic design or something else with its own forms, and I want those separate. You can do that on here. One thing about self-employment income and entering a 1099 NEC is that you won't be able to be on the free edition, so you'll have to upgrade. The minimum upgrade here is just to go to the deluxe. So I'll just click that upgrade to deluxe and continue from where I left off. Some of you might encounter that if you started off free. So this is the part I was talking about. Tell us the type of self-employment work you do. I'm just going to say graphic design in this case. And if I do more than one type of work, that's where you can click on that to find out your options. But basically you'll be creating another one of these, and we'll continue. Now we can say whether it's your main source of income or it's a side job or a business you own. That just helps TurboTax kind of narrow down the different options and how it's going to fill out the form. I'm going to say it's a side job and hit continue. And then if you started it or stopped it in the tax year 2025, or if neither of those apply, I'm going to say neither in this case. And then it asks if you've made any payments. So this is actually for you to issue a 1099 NEC form. But no, I didn't make any of these payments, so I hit continue. If there's any common or uncommon situations, I could say none of these apply. Hit continue, and now I've got basically information for my graphic design work. So what I would want to do with this is add income to that line of work. So now you can see here, that's exactly what this says. Enter income for your graphic design work. So you're describing the work you do, and then you enter the NEC for that. So we see common income, form 1099 NEC. This is where we can file that. So we scroll down a little bit, and if you have multiple, you'll be able to go back in and file multiple. But we'll hit continue, and now this is where you can enter in all of the information on that form that you received. So you have the 1099 NEC either electronically, or you've got it in the mail or printed it out, and you can fill in who paid you, their ID number. This is kind of just like how you fill in like a W-2 or anything else. You fill in the different boxes as far as what was in those boxes, the compensation, etc. And then you hit continue from there, and that will add it in. I'm going to see if we can go ahead and enter in some dummy information and hit continue. Okay, so we've continued with that information. It'll ask you if anything came from tips as far as the income that you entered. In this case, I'm going to say no, and then hit continue again. So now you can see this is my graphic design line of work. It drops down and shows all the income for that work, and I have one 1099 NEC that I've added in. Now if you have more self-employment work or self-employment income to add to that line of work, then you would just say yes. there, and you can continue, and it will allow you to add more forms, so another 1099 NEC if you want to. So if we go back to wages and income here and back to our summary, then it's going to show that self-employment income and expenses here for my graphic design work. If I review this, it might take me to the spot that they want to review. No, it'll take me to the summary. So once you've entered at least one line of work, you're going to have your self-employed work summary, which will show each lines of work. You can see I can add another line of work. So if there is another line of work that you have, you can add more 1099 NECs to that. But I have this graphic design line of work, and I can drop that down and see this is the form 1099 NEC that I'm filing for that line of work. And so you check that, you review it, enter in expenses if you have. That's what we didn't do. We didn't go on and enter any expenses or anything. So there's a little bit more to fill out for that line of work. But basically that sits there in that self-employed work summary. And now under your income, you're going to see that line item. That's how you can file 1099 NEC on TurboTax.